The hierarchy of respect. Why respect is the bedrock when we talk about relationships. We usually put love on a pedestal. We are told that love conquers all, but the cold, hard truth is that love is an emotion, and emotions are like the weather. They change. One day the sun is out and she's obsessed with you. The next day, a storm rolls in and she feels distant. If your entire relationship is built on her feeling love, you are standing on shifting sand. This is where respect love comes into play. Respect isn't a feeling, it's a logical evaluation. It's the mental realization that you are a man of high value, a man with firm boundaries, and a man who cannot be pushed around. While love can fluctuate based on a bad mood or a boring Tuesday, respect is durable. It stays. When a woman respects you, she views you as a prize she cannot afford to lose, even when the butterflies aren't fluttering. If a woman loves you but doesn't respect you, you are in a dangerous position. This is the nice guy trap. She might think you're sweet, she might appreciate your kindness, and she might even say she loves you, but without respect, she will inevitably start to mistreat you. Why? Because humans, by nature, do not value what they can control completely. If she realizes she can walk all over you, ignore your boundaries, or snap at you without consequence, her attraction will die. Eventually, she will leave because she cannot be attracted to a man she doesn't look up to. On the flip side, when respect is the foundation, she stays. Even during the dry spells where the romance feels a bit quiet, that deep-seated respect acts as an anchor. She stays because she values your character and your strength, and she knows that a man like you isn't easily replaced. The scarcity principle. Your attention is your currency. Think of your attention as a literal currency, like the dollar or the euro. In the world of economics, when a government prints too much money and floods the market, the value of that money plummets. This is called inflation. The same thing happens in your relationship. If you are constantly texting her, replying to her messages within 30 seconds, and showering her with endless, unearned compliments, you are printing too much attention. You are making your presence so common that it becomes cheap. When something is everywhere, it's worth nothing. If she knows that no matter how she acts, she can reach out and get 100% of your focus instantly, she stops valuing it. She doesn't have to wonder about you, work for your time, or miss you, because you're always right there in her pocket. To gain power in this dynamic, you have to apply the scarcity principle. This isn't about playing mind games or being a jerk. It's about having a life that is bigger than a phone screen. When you have a mission, whether that's crushing it at your job, hitting new PRs in the gym, or building a business, your attention naturally becomes scarce. It becomes a high-value prize because you are genuinely busy. When you finally do text her back or take her out on a date, it feels significant because she knows you had to carve that time out of a productive day. She realizes that your time is a limited resource. This creates a psychological shift where she begins to earn your attention rather than just expecting it. By being less available, you become more visible and your presence carries a weight that the always available man can never compete with. The power of the walk away, the ultimate position of strength. The most uncomfortable truth in any relationship is that the person who needs the connection the least is the one who holds the most power. This isn't about being heartless or uncaring. It's about a fundamental shift in your internal logic. Most men operate from a place of deep-seated fear, the fear that if she leaves, their world will end. When you are terrified of losing a woman, you subconsciously become a prisoner. Because you are scared of the breakup, you start compromising your values. You tolerate her disrespect, you let her push your boundaries, and you bite your tongue when she treats you poorly, all because you're desperate to keep her around. The tragedy is that women can sense this fear like a shark senses blood in the water. The moment she realizes you are addicted to her and that you'll never leave no matter how she treats you, her respect for you evaporates. You become a safe option, but you cease to be a man she admires. To change the dynamic, you must experience a total internal shift. You have to reach a point where your self-respect is non-negotiable. This means being truly, authentically willing to walk away the moment your boundaries are crossed and your value is ignored. It's the difference between saying, I hope you stay and I enjoy your company, but I don't need it to be a complete man. When you show, through your actions, not just empty threats, that you are willing to pack your bags and move on if the relationship becomes toxic, you radiate a massive amount of strength. You are effectively telling her, my dignity is more important to me than your validation. This creates a healthy level of tension. When she knows that you have the backbone to leave, she understands that your presence is a privilege she has to maintain through mutual respect. The man who is prepared to walk away is the only man who is truly free. Emotional self regulation, the unshakable pillar of masculinity, one of the most powerful ways to command respect is through absolute emotional self regulation. Women are naturally more attuned to emotional shifts, and they often use tests to see if you can be easily rattled. If you crumble or panic the moment things go wrong, you are essentially telling her that you cannot lead yourself, let alone a family or a relationship. Take the example of a major life crisis, like losing a job or facing a financial setback. A man who lacks composure will vent, complain, and look to his woman for emotional rescue, effectively becoming another child she has to take care of. But the man who maintains composure under pressure is different. He stays calm, he processes the situation logically, and he reassures her that he has a plan to bounce back. By staying grounded while the world is on fire, you prove that you are a rock. She feels safe under your leadership because she sees that your internal peace isn't dependent on external circumstances. Beyond crisis management, emotional regulation shows up in the way you handle conflict, specifically through the power of silence. Most men make the mistake of over-explaining or getting defensive during an argument. They raise their voice, they repeat themselves, and they beg her to understand their side. This is known as frame breaking. When you get loud and emotional, you're entering her emotional world and losing your own ground. Instead, the high value move is often to say nothing at all. Silence is a massive tool for maintaining your frame. When she is being irrational or disrespectful, a calm, steady silence forces her to sit with her own behavior. It shows that you aren't bothered by her emotional storms and that you won't be dragged into a petty back and forth. This kind of quiet strength is far more intimidating and respectable than a tower lecture. It communicates that you are in total control of yourself, and if you can control yourself, you can handle anything the world throws at you. While the strategies of detachment and self-reliance are incredibly powerful for regaining your footing, we have to look at the bigger picture to ensure you aren't just winning a power struggle while losing a soulmate. There is a critical nuance between healthy independence and emotional unavailability. If you take detachment to the extreme, you risk becoming a ghost in your own home, a man who is physically present but emotionally 1,000 miles away. Real, lasting intimacy requires a bridge, not a wall. While being the unshakable rock is what sparks that initial attraction and fixes a broken power dynamic, a long-term partnership cannot survive on mystery alone. Eventually, for a bond to deepen into something meaningful, you have to be able to share your vision, your fears, and your heart. True strength isn't just about hiding your emotions. It's about having such a strong foundation of self-respect that you can afford to be vulnerable without fearing that it makes you weak. You want to be a man she can't control, but you also want to be a man she can actually reach. We also have to talk about the reality of the testing dynamic. It is true that many people subconsciously push buttons to see if their partner's boundaries are firm, but living a life where every conversation feels like a high-stakes exam is absolutely exhausting. If you spend every day maintaining a poker face and treating your relationship like a tactical battlefield, you'll eventually burn out, and so will she. A relationship built entirely on passing tests is a relationship built on anxiety. While you should never crumble under pressure, the ultimate goal of a healthy relationship is to reach a level of mutual trust where the tests stop being necessary. High value men don't just stay silent to win an argument. They use their composure to create a space where healthy communication can finally happen. You want to lead the relationship to a place where you don't have to play defense anymore because both people are operating with honesty and respect. Ultimately, you should view these concepts as a much-needed way-up call rather than a permanent script for every interaction. If you've lost your sense of self, if you've become a yes man, or if you feel like you're being treated like a backup plan, then these principles of detachment and scarcity are your medicine. They're designed to pull you out of the mud and put you back on your feet. The most practical, life changing advice here isn't about tricking a woman into staying, it's about prioritizing your own growth and purpose. When you are genuinely obsessed with becoming the best version of yourself, physically, financially, and mentally, you don't have to try to be detached. You just are, because your life is too full and too exciting to spend every second worrying about a text message. This is the ultimate win win. You become a more attractive, respected partner by focusing on the one thing you can actually control yourself. By building a life you love, you become a man who is magnetic by default, not by effort.